Hi, folks. With Tacitus today, Tacitus today at your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. I just recently saw, and that's the subject of this essay. I just recently saw two sort of, I don't know what you call them, questionnaires or survey results about treating people with respect and dignity and protecting their dignity, I guess, and also being disrespected. And I noticed how very different the questions are, coming from very different perspectives. Treating people with dignity and respect, not that the two are necessarily the same thing all the time, and being disrespected. For example, a woman saying, well, my husband didn't do as much grocery shopping this week as I did. He's disrespecting me by doing what? Is that disrespect? So he's taking advantage of me. I'm keeping score, and I'm doing more of this than him, so therefore I'm disrespected. I'm not sure I agree that that's the criteria for determining disrespect, but most of the disrespect, in fact, all of it that I could see, at least it's online and around, is about that sort of thing. Someone didn't, give me enough attention or something. That sort of stuff is quite childish and juvenile, but that appears to be sort of the disrespect, narrative, if you like, coming from the other side of treating people with dignity. That was quite a different matter, and different questions and different perspectives were presented. So I'll try and spend more time on that one than the other. But let's say, for example, I remember the last. This was some time ago now. The last job interview I went for. Now this was from a guy that I've known for a long time, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, Billy Bob." So he's tapping me on the shoulder, called me and said, "Hey, Billy Bob, I've got a gig going as so and so. I think you'd be perfect for that. I'm just going to get my people to contact you and so on and so forth." So. Now it's a senior role, like it's reporting directly to the CEO, like it's an executive vice president type level gig, and so I expected that the very minimum the vice president of HR would contact me and we'd have a congenial cup of coffee or something like that. But instead, I got a call from some teenage intern who's talking to me as if I'm applying for a job as a parking lot attendant, and I didn't want to tell him to fuck off, because I didn't want to. I wanted to keep sweet with this guy. He's a well-connected guy, and one day I might need to call him up and say, "Hey, have you got a job for me?" So I didn't want to piss him off or appear unappreciative of the fact that he'd called me. So I thought, well, I better go through the charade. I thought of going to him and complaining, saying, "Look, what's the story here with snot-nosed teenage girly interns being sent to call me? I mean, seriously. I mean, hey." Then there was like a couple of bullshit online psych tests and stuff, and then a junior, not the intern, but a junior HR operative, then is going to interview me to make sure I'm a proper cultural fit. At that point, I thought, no. Anyway, they realised the mistake. So a junior, quite a junior HR person, wants me to come in. It's sort of apologetic, but tries to do another woman, by the way, tries to do the big tough thing. And I'm the child, she's the parent, and that type of thing. I thought, this is crazy. Why are these people? I mean, who's trained them? I mean, what's going on here? So anyway, I mean, whether you call it disrespect or lack of respect or not being cognizant of the dignity of somebody who is, again in the frame for the executive vice president role. I'm thinking, if I get or accept the job, I mean, you three people are going to be out of a job day one. And I didn't want to tell my friend that, and that would reflect badly on him. And I didn't want him to think, who do you think you are, motherfucker? I didn't want that sort of conversation to come up, so I just let it go, which in itself could be classy, but coming from the other side now, that this is someone who's applying to me for a job, or they've applied, and I'm interviewing them. I'm the CEO of the company, and I'm giving you pretty much an example of how I've conducted a number of interviews in that context, and it's a fairly narrow context, I guess, and I'm sticking in a business rather than a social setting here, but nonetheless. Now, it's a senior role, so there is no way. I mean, I wouldn't dream of getting an intern to call the guy. I wouldn't dream of it. Nor a junior flunky from HR. So the most senior person in HR, whether it's the VP of Human Resources or the executive director, they will do, and I'll tell them, this is how I want you to go about this. This is a senior role. This is, I want you to treat this guy. This guy's going to be like 50 years old. He's experienced, he's credentialed, and I want you to treat him that way. With all, and I don't mean you grovel or you fall about it, nothing like that. Just treat him with professional respect. That's all, just that. So anyway, the guy comes in, and I go out to meet him. I don't send some little flunky out to get him and summon him, and he does the walk in, and there I am, the big man. No. I'm hiring a professional. I'm hiring someone who's going to help me solve the problems in the business, run the business, improve the business, increase the sales, or whatever. But I'm hiring a professional to help get important and critical results. So, and I want him to feel like he's being treated that way and being viewed that way and thought of in that light. I go out to meet him. So I go, shake, and it's a handshake. It's, hello, I'm Billy Bob. I'm the CEO, and thank you for coming. I really appreciate your time. He's coming. He's not getting paid to do this. I mean, I'm paid to sit there. He's not. So I'm respectful of his the time that he's taking to come and meet me and talk to me, and make some small talk about it. It's always nice to sit down with a fellow professional. I don't necessarily have to do any of those things, by the way, but I am extending to him the respect and thus the dignity of the office or the position that he's going to hold and that he currently holds. He's already a senior executive. It's not, he already is someone who is, I believe, has a certain dignified situation and presence, and I want to protect that. I don't want the guy to feel bad or think, you assholes, what a joke. So I want him to come to the office, the interview, and the prospect of working for the company with that sort of view in mind. Gee, these people really know how to treat you as a professional, and I think that's important. So when we get to my office, and so I said, well, can I get you anything? Would you like coffee or tea or something? We've got a really good coffee machine there if you like, caramel lattes or something. That sort of stuff. And okay, well, let's go and get one now. I'll get one too. And so go and do that. Let me get you a mineral water as well. I've got a refrigerator with some mineral water in my office. So, the guy's got that. So it's got everything you need. Bit of small talk, about the view out the window or something. Now I've got a round table. I can sit at my desk, but I've got a round table, which is like just for meetings. There's like four chairs around. And if it's a bigger meeting, we'll go to another room, but just meeting in my office. So instead of going around the desk, I'm the big man and you sit at the other side and you better perform for me, you fucking motherfucker. None of that. He's a professional. He's a professional guy. And I want to hear him tell me how he's going to help me solve problems or overcome, hurdles and difficulties and achieve objectives. That's what I want. I want to hear him, and I want to hear him say, hey, this is the value I can add to your business. These are the credentials, these are the capabilities I can deliver. And to do that, he's going to need to feel, I think at least, dignified. Now, I don't come across any try and gotcha questions. Oh, yeah, what did you do 30 years ago? Yeah, gotcha. No. The guy's a professional. I want him to talk on how he's going to. None of this gotcha, none of this, I'm going to get under his guard. Oh, I'll stick it up him. And, that's just bullshit. So to treat him with that sort of respect. Now, it may end up that we don't do business, or I may listen to the guy and think, you know what, he doesn't really know as much as I thought he did, or whatever. Or maybe I think, gee, this guy's really on the ball. But I wanted to talk about how he's going to help me. I need the help of capable, credentialed, experienced people who can, again, help me solve problems, help me get things done. And that's how I wanted to feel. So, at the end, is there anything else you'd like to add, Jimmy Jack? Well, if you think of anything else, feel free to give me a call. And you have my email and this sort of stuff. And okay, and so then I walk him out. I don't say, look, there's the door, fuck off. I walk him out and walk out with him to the front door, not just to the elevator or something like that. Well, I would to the elevator, depending what floor we're on. But so I walk him out, thank him again, handshake him, again, really appreciate it, and so on. If we have any more questions, is it okay if we contact you? Yes. Okay, well, great. Thank you again. Have a nice day. So all the while, there's none of this me boss, you child, none of that sort of stuff, because it doesn't create the right atmosphere for showing respect. Now, if I listen to the amount of, just the way that we, the business I overshare, and just the way that we often get treated when we go to do, make business proposals or follow up with a second proposal, or we're sitting down with the client, and it could be a substantial contract. The amount of times that they put junior trainee teenage girls that we have to deal with is just beyond the pale. And if it's not them, we're dealing with people who can barely speak English. It's like there's an absolute determination. Look how important I can make you have to eat shit from people that don't even speak English. I own you, motherfucker. That sort of thing. That's terrible. And not only is it disrespectful, but they seem determined to say, well, whatever dignity you have, we can take it away from you whenever we want to. That sort of attitude. And I see that type of thing in the way that the Western governments, globalist controlled Western governments, are treating sort of white people, so particularly sort of straight white male, particularly the working class straight white male, or the way that the divorce courts treat men. It's the merest sign where the man's asking a question, or a microbe of defiance, and they go in boots and all, the whole thing, to crush the guy, whatever dignity, and jeering at him. The judge and the court operatives laughing and jeering at the man. Seriously, this is what they do. And so when we think about respect and dignity, and I don't see the two of them as the same thing. These are things that I think about how to treat people, and I think are standard and normal, and you wouldn't want to treat people any other way. Now, it's a bit different if, not that I'd be doing the interviewing, but if you're interviewing somebody to be, an attendant for the parking lot or the floor sweeper or something, now you wouldn't treat them with the same deference necessarily. But whenever I'm the boss in any company, I always insist that people who come for a job, you don't treat them like shit. Okay, you're not the big sort of heavy, and they're the nobody. You don't do it that way. Treat everyone with a respect that's in accordance with the position. Again, you don't treat the parking lot attendant in the same way as you would the executive vice president, but nonetheless, consider people's dignity and act accordingly. You've been a Tacitus today, your pushback channel. Thank you for listening.